Hello everyone, Storm here, and today I've got another installment of What If Tenshinhan Was a Saiyan. If you guys have not watched the series thus far, check it out using the link in the description and comment section. It's very important you know what has happened so far in the story, as this is the finale. Anyway, with that being said, let's get straight into this video. The God of Destruction Beerus has awakened and is now looking for the Super Saiyan God. He and his angel attendant Whis end up on Earth and proceed to beat everybody up. Goku gets the Super Saiyan God ritual done on him and loses to Beerus. He and Vegeta later go on to train with Whis as well. Tenshinhan doesn't though, since he'd rather stay at home with his family. Plus, I doubt he'd ever even know about it. Yu Shang would have moved out to be with Sharpener by this time as well. The two have a child around the same time as Gohan and Videl have Pan. This will be a boy with 3 eyes named Pencil, since Sharpener's name is, well, you know. Frieza is still going to be revived in this timeline because nobody stopped it originally, so I don't see anyone doing it this time either. And so, he goes off to train for 4 months and returns afterward with his army. The Z Fighters gather and prepare to defend the Earth. We've got the original crew of Roshi, Krillin, Tenshinhan, Gohan, and Piccolo, as well as Jocko now. But we also now have Yu Shang too. Chow Mein wants to prove herself, and Tenshinhan allows it, as long as she only fights the soldiers and not Frieza. So 2 out of the 3 Tenshinhan's daughters are now joining in the fight. Goten also wants to go along too to protect his friends, and Trunks is gonna go because of Goten. Tenshinhan instructs Chaozu to go to his home and keep Launch and Brunch safe in case they fail. And so now our Z Fighters take on Frieza's army, which will go quite smoothly. With a much bigger group, the weaker men are going to be taken out quickly, leading to Tagoma and Shisami joining in. But since Gohan is weaker here, he's not going to be the main one fighting. Instead, it will be Yu Shang and Tenshinhan. The father and daughter combo easily body slam both of Frieza's top men and finish them off quickly. Since there's no Ginyu here, that whole thing doesn't happen. So now Tenshinhan is going to try and fight Frieza next. Unfortunately, this isn't going to go very well for him, as even Super Saiyan 2 isn't enough for Frieza's first form. He doesn't even have to step out of his pod to beat Tenshinhan. Upon seeing her father being brutally crushed, Yu Shang becomes enraged and starts flying toward Frieza. He blasts her down and she falls, but she gets back up and flies in again. This time when she gets blasted, she fires back, but not from her hands. Instead, her third eye fires a beam that catches Frieza off guard and hurts him slightly. Everyone is shocked, as no one had ever seen anyone in Tenshinhan's family use their third eye to fire beams before. But we've seen eye beams in Dragon Ball, so it's not a crazy concept. While his daughter is attacking Frieza, Tenshinhan takes out a bottle and begins using the Mafuba technique. He aims it at Frieza, catching him in the blast and sealing him away. He then falls to the ground, having been beaten down beforehand. Goku and Vegeta later arrive, as they don't have instant transmission here, so they had to travel with Whis and Beerus, which takes quite a while. The situation is told to them, but Vegeta says no. He takes the bottle and opens it, letting Frieza out. At that point, he goes on to fight Frieza himself rather than Goku. He wasn't going to let an enemy this big be taken out by some random seal. Vegeta forces Frieza into his golden form, and so Vegeta reveals Super Saiyan Blue, but he does end up with the same result as Goku did in canon, so now Goku would step in to fight. Either Goku or Vegeta would kill Frieza here, so take your pick. After this, Tenshinhan wants to train with Whis in order to make sure he can actually contribute more next time. Launch encourages him to go as well, and so he thanks her. He lets Chaozu run the farm while he's gone, and then leaves to learn from Whis. Eventually, the Universe 6 tournament is planned, so Tenshinhan is an obvious pick for the team. He will just replace Majin Buu while the rest of the team remains the same. Tenshinhan will also join Goku and Vegeta in the time chamber, cutting their time down to 2 years instead of 3. This leads to him becoming far stronger, though he's not quite on their level yet. He's more around the Golden Frieza tier when in blue, which is still pretty impressive. The tournament begins with Goku beating Botamo and losing to Frost due to his poison. Tenshinhan is up next, beating Frost with little difficulty. He then goes on to fight Magetta and beats him using Super Saiyan God, rather than just Super Saiyan like Vegeta did. He also doesn't resort to using insults and instead just overpowers him. After that, he faces Kaba. I think Tenshinhan would take interest in the boy, seeing how he is a very powerful Saiyan. He kinda reminds him of how Goku was back in the day, a very young but very strong kid. In fact, Kaba's base form is actually stronger than his own. So he has to use Super Saiyan to beat him. When he finds out that Kaba can't transform, he does his best to make that a reality, though he mainly just helps him by training his mind without threatening his family like Vegeta did. And so Kaba eventually does go Super Saiyan, so Tenshinhan uses Super Saiyan God to wring him out. telling him to master the regular form and he'll be able to achieve even higher heights. And so now, Hit is the final opponent, but Hit is not going to be an easy foe for the Three-Eyed Warrior. In fact, Tenshinhan will need his blue form right off the bat. While Hit is much stronger than him, he is somewhat able to hold his own by using his techniques. The Solar Flare, 4 Witches, and Multiform all give him the small hope he needs to fight back. When he's about to lose, he attempts to use a Neo Tri-Beam, but Hit just taps him out of the ring using his time skip. Piccolo is up next, but he realistically isn't going to do anything special here. Thankfully though, him fighting allows for Vegeta to have 2 fights to watch to observe Hit's movements and technique. So now when Vegeta steps in, he's going to hold his own quite nicely. But in the end, he just doesn't have the power to take Hit down. He does force him to improve his time skip though. Since Goku has already seen Hit fight 3 times now, he can skip the warm-up and fight him straight away in blue. But due to Hit having already improved, it is quite difficult for him to win this, especially since he doesn't have the Kaioken here as well. So Hit does end up ringing out Goku, and that leads to him fighting Monaka. But he does have enough respect for all of our warriors here to fake his loss against Monaka to show that they are not pawns in the god's game. So after that, Beerus wishes for Champa's Earth to be restored, and the gang go back to their normal lives. Tenshinhan also returns to Beerus' planet to train with Whis some more. He needs to fully catch up to Goku and Vegeta in order to be content with himself. Whis also introduces the concept of Ultra Instinct to him the same way that he did with Goku and Vegeta, so not outright stating that there is an Ultra Instinct, but he kind of just mentions it and hints toward it. That way he knows what he's striving for, so that way he can surpass his 2 Saiyans comrades. During the Goku Black arc, I'd say Tenshinhan sits this out. He might make some appearances here and there, but he'd probably return to his family and be with them for a while. So the Black arc goes the exact same. May seem a little lazy, but I mean, we've already got a ton of stuff to cover for this part, and also, I kinda want Tenshinhan to be training and just getting stronger and stronger and stronger, rather than being involved here. Plus, it wouldn't really make sense for him to be involved here. He's kind of disconnected from everybody else. But after that, the Tournament of Power is brought up, with the exhibition match seeing Piccolo replace Majin Buu. They still win though, so it's all good. Universe 7's team must now be picked. The roster will be Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo, Tenshinhan, Yusheng, Krillin, Android 17, Android 18, and Roshi. So no issue with the final member and stuff, because that would just be filled with Yusheng, so they would never have to go get Frieza. Speaking of Yusheng, she spends her time prepping with her father, and the 2 spar and gain even more strength together. So instead of having Goku and Tenshinhan versus Piccolo and Gohan, we would have Goku and Gohan versus Tenshinhan and Yusheng. So a very interesting Saiyan, half Saiyan, father-child kind of battle, which is pretty interesting. I would honestly say that this fight would be super close. Yusheng has been keeping up her training her whole life, so even though she's only got Super Saiyan 2, she's still on that same level as Ultimate Gohan. And Tenshinhan and Goku are just about equal as well. And so, we would see both fights being similar to Goku and Frieza in that they are evenly matched. Heck, Tenshinhan and Yusheng probably have better teamwork than Goku and Gohan do, so they might even win. If I had to pick a winner, I would say that the father and daughter would win. Anyway, the tournament finally comes around and everyone is prepared. They enter the stage and the tournament begins. Tenshinhan and Yusheng would be part of the Universe 7 circle. When they get attacked by Shosa, Comfrey, Dokuri, Lavender, and Botamo, Tenshinhan and Yusheng are not gonna hold back. They both use their full power and proceed to take out the weaker ones. Gohan follows their lead and overpowers Botamo out of the ring like he did in canon, just sooner this time. Since some of them were from Universe 9, Goku and Vegeta are able to eliminate that universe much quicker without any hassle. Yusheng takes the place of Frieza and eliminates all the guys he did in canon, just without toying with them. She'd do it much quicker. Vegeta tries to fight Hit again, but is stopped by only Magetta this time since Botamo is already gone. This allows him to take Magetta out of the ring now instead of later, but by that point Hit has already left. Tenshinhan is going to be able to take out all the guys he struggled with in canon as well. Since Yusheng isn't going to be making deals and wasting time torturing people like Frieza did, she is able to help out more in some of these fights. Like when Roshi has to fight all of Universe 4, she's going to step in to help him out where she can. Yusheng will also save him from Frost instead of Vegeta, so Frost gets eliminated, and Roshi gets to stay. Tenshinhan takes on your guy's favorite character, Ribrianne, and beats her, taking her out of the ring as well. So by the time of Goku's fight with Jiren, the team has only lost Krillin. Anyway, speaking of, that Jiren fight goes the same, but Goku simply uses a Kamehameha instead of a Spirit Bomb. which means we would still see Ultra Instinct Omen being unveiled here and then being beaten by Jiren. Hit gets eliminated after that, and Roshi gives his energy to Goku before hopping out of the ring, since he really can't do too much else. He kind of fought all the weaker opponents, and even then he even had some help there. Yu Sheng is going to go on to fight Dispo, with her forcing him into his super maximum light speed mode. With her in Super Saiyan 2, this makes them both equal, so Toppo steps in to help his comrade. At this point, Yu Sheng is beaten up by the two, and this makes her pretty angry. She knows she can beat Dispo to give her father an easier time and save her universe, and her family back home. But they're not letting her fight him on his own. So she gets furious and sneezes. Since she's already in Super Saiyan 2, her hair doesn't change color, but what does happen is that a blue ki pours out of her body. She yells out, now in the Super Saiyan Rage form that we saw Trunks use in the Goku Black arc. This power shocks Toppo, so she catches him off guard with a kick to the gut. She then charges at Dispo, easily beating him out of the ring and taking him down. Toppo steps in to fight her, but she ends up by losing her new form after a close fight. So Tenshinhan is forced to save his daughter and proceeds to fight Toppo himself. Of course he is going to be losing this fight, but he's going to do his absolute best to save his family. He is able to hold his own in Super Saiyan Blue, but Toppo starts ramping up the heat. Tenshinhan begins losing badly, and so he uses a Tri-Beam, but Toppo fires his own blast to overtake his. The blast completely surrounds the three-eyed warrior and he falls to the ground. But then, he gets back up, seemingly in his base form. The ground around him begins to shake, and rubble lifts off as he makes his way toward Toppo. He had awakened the same power as Goku, Ultra Instinct Omen. With this, he begins saucing on Toppo to the extreme, and just gives him a nice beatdown. But Toppo eventually sees how bad he's losing, and uses his God of Destruction form to free himself. Now real quick, I see a lot of people say that without Vegeta and Frieza there, trying to mess with Toppo's pride and taking pot shots at him, that he wouldn't use this form. But in the end, if his universe is threatened and he can't output any more strength, he will definitely use the form. He's not going to let his universe be erased. So yeah, I see people saying this in a lot of what ifs, so I figured I'd just cover it here. So Toppo's going to use his God of Destruction form, and this is going to be too much for our hero, as this form was able to handle a blue Vegeta who had already adapted while fighting Jiren. But blue Vegeta had already gotten so strong that he was pushing Jiren with his normal attacks in the final flash, which Omen 1 Goku couldn't even do. So him getting blue evolution, and then getting stronger too, makes Toppo far outclass Omen 1 Goku. And Tenshinhan is equal to that Goku when using this form, so he's in that same tier. This means that Toppo is going to start overpowering Tenshinhan and making him unable to dodge everything. He was adapting to these attacks as he fought, but Toppo still had a massive advantage over him. So he is eventually taken down by Toppo and nearly eliminated, only being saved by his daughter distracting Toppo. But this gets Yu Sheng hit instead, knocking her out of the ring. Gohan saves Tenshinhan and gets him out of there, giving him enough energy to defend himself. This leads to him, Gohan, and Piccolo fighting off Gamisaurus, Shansa, and Damon, and taking them out using strategy, so only Piccolo gets dropped here. Tenshinhan then goes on to aid in the defeat of Universe 3's robot fighters before the birth of Anilaza. Here, Tenshinhan is able to save Android 18 by using the multiform and jumping over to grab her. He has one of them sacrifice themselves to throw her back on stage, and then reforms to gain his full power back. Against Anilaza, Tenshinhan will basically replace Frieza, with 18 having some minor support to 17's final attack. They eventually take the dub, but then out of the blue, 18 is launched off by a purple blast. She is knocked out of the stage, and the gang looks over to see Toppo standing with his hand aimed. He is still using his God form. He says that he won't let any of them get to Jiren, and that they'll have to take him out first. So now all 5 of our fighters try to take a stand against the godly opponent, but cannot hold a candle to him. This eventually forces Vegeta to unlock Blue Evolution and attack him alongside Goku and the others. Gohan gets dropped by Toppo here and taken out of the ring. Toppo is able to beat up Goku and Vegeta because the original Vegeta got much stronger from fighting Jiren, but here that hasn't happened, so Toppo is much more powerful than him. Toppo tries eliminating Goku and Vegeta, but Tenshinhan knows how important they are, and so he charges in to take the attack. In Super Saiyan Blue, he takes it and collapses to the ground, but is able to catch his footing as he reawakens Ultra Instinct Omen. Omen, Tenshinhan, and Blue Evolution Vegeta attack Toppo together, both adapting and getting much stronger as they fight. This eventually culminates in a Final Flash Tri-Beam combo that takes Toppo for good. Vegeta and Tenshinhan are both exhausted from this and fall to the ground. So now 17 and Goku go on to fight Jiren together and don't do all too well. Vegeta recovers much faster than Tenshinhan does, so Tenshinhan tells him to go help the others. He's gonna sit back and regain his composure and jump in when he can. So 17, Goku, and Vegeta all end up having the same battle against Jiren, ending in 17's sacrifice. Vegeta now tries to step in and fight Jiren, but Tenshinhan knows that he's weakened, so he's gonna do it himself. He powers up to Super Saiyan God and tries fighting Jiren, but of course he is just gonna be body slamming him with little difficulty. Vegeta is slowly regaining his strength once again, waiting to help out. Tenshinhan eventually uses Super Saiyan Blue, but this is ineffective due to him being so much weaker than Jiren. Though he does still manage to keep up to some degree due to his skill. When he is just about to be beaten, Vegeta jumps in to try and take over for him. He is able to use Super Saiyan this time, but that's not really so much. The prince is eventually eliminated and gives the last of his energy to Goku, who now fights in his place. Goku ends up bringing Ultra Instinct Omen out once again and mastering it as well. This leads to him beating Jiren down and bringing out his hidden power, eventually resulting in him starting to tap out due to strain. But when that happens, Tenshinhan uses the last of his own energy to fuel Goku, allowing for him to use the form for a brief period and eliminate Jiren along with himself. So now Tenshinhan and 17 are left, with the two agreeing to bring back all the other universes. After that, Tenshinhan is going to go back home with his family and try to complete Ultra Instinct like he saw Goku did. It may take a long time, but he has to strive to be better. The Broly movie happens still, but with Barry Blue in charge instead of Frieza, since Frieza is never resurrected. So Paragus doesn't get killed here. And that means Broly never goes Super Saiyan, and so he gets beaten by Vegeta and Goku over time. Tenshinhan senses what happens, and he arrives to the scene. Upon seeing Broly's backstory, he requests for him to be the first member of his dojo. With Paragus being forced to give up on his vengeance plot, Broly agrees to this, and so now Broly and Tenshinhan go off to train together and reach even higher heights. By the way, if you're wondering why Tenshinhan is just starting his dojo now, it's because this whole time he's been doing way more training with Whis and stuff, and also he's been running the farm. So he hasn't really had time to run a dojo, but now he is. But since I'm not going to cover the Dragon Ball Super manga, that is where the story ends for now. I hope you guys enjoyed how this went, as I know I did. Tenshinhan was a really good character and got wasted and ruined hardcore in the original story, so it was nice giving him a family and a bigger role. But as always, tell me if you liked this series, comment your requests for future videos, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, have a great day.